I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
What's up, AfterBuzzers, and welcome to the Demon Slayer After Show. Today we're talking episodes 9 and 10, and we got another two demons in the house today. Special guests. Welcome, Xander and Sarah.
Hello.
So we're talking episodes 9, Tamari Demon and Arrow Demon, as well as episode 10, Together Forever. We'll go around and introduce the rest of the panelists as well. Jaimi, you want to say hello?
Hello, everybody. Hope everyone is keeping smiles on their face. Happy to be back.
And Veronica.
Hello, everyone.
And my name is Kari Lane. We have a live chat going, so if you're watching this live, join us in the chat. And if you're watching it later, no problem. Comment down below what you thought of these episodes. So these ones we get, it gets a bit more intense. Veronica, what did you think of this pair of episodes and this pair of demons?
This was a good pair of episodes. You know, we did get a demon fight, so that was technically, you know, a couple episodes ago, that was technically our first official fight. But this one was just so different. There was so much more animation and beautiful visuals to see. These were kooky, wacky demons that were obviously tied more closely to our big baddie. So to learn about them gave some great insight into who he is, and once again, just kind of what demons are. So it was a strong pair of episodes.
Yeah. And Jaimi, what do you think of these demons in these episodes?
Definitely, I agree with you, Veronica. Very intense, especially seeing, you know, the Tamari and the Arrow Demon. It was crazy because I think this would be the first time that we saw, I mean, we've seen Nezuko fight, but this time she's fighting again. We're seeing Yushiro fight as well. His head gets knocked off, my jaw dropped. But moments like that, I love. So I thought that like it really upped the speed of the show. So I really enjoyed these two episodes. And from what I remember, because I have seen part of the series before, this is where I left off. So it's really great to just kind of put everything together. Great episodes.
Yeah. Now, Sarah and Xander, you come into this show halfway through or so. What was it like joining Demon Slayer, and what was it like for you voicing these characters?
I have a really quick question.
Nope.
Can you guys hear the creepy ass ice cream truck?
The ice cream truck is here.
Oh no!
Yeah, I don't think I hear it.
We live so close together. He's like,
you can take it mobile. We're not judging you.
Sorry, no. It's. I think the danger's past. I think the scary ice cream man, who I assume is a clown. I have no way of confirming this, but
judgy, so judgy.
Judgy. Wow. All right.
All right, Xander.
Yeah. Sorry. What was the question?
The question was, what was it like coming into this show? You're coming in about halfway as a character, and what was it like voicing your character for these episodes?
Voicing him was a lot of fun. I'll be honest, I didn't know a lot going in. I still honestly don't know a ton about the show, but the thing that struck me was like the animation was like just gorgeous. It was phenomenal. I don't know which studio did this, but whichever one did feel very, very good about it. It looks amazing. And the characters were a lot of fun. They were very, you know, you don't really want to come in there and just be like the guy who's like, yes, I am generic bad man, and I am here to do generic bad things. And so getting to have that interplay, especially with Sarah, like recording this, it was weird because I recorded before you, if I remember correctly, Sarah.
I think so, yeah.
And so I had no idea who was playing it, but I saw the character and I heard her talk and I was like, well, that's going to be Sarah, right? Like that has to be. And I was right, which was awesome. So I got the experience of trying to like reverse engineer what Sarah would say before me, and then what I thought her delivery would sound like, and then trying to play off that. And it was a lot of fun.
So it's so good to be like good friends with your imaginary scene partner. You can sort of preempt what they're gonna do.
Exactly, yeah.
Nice. And then Sarah, for you, what was it like voicing this character and coming into this epic show?
Oh man, I'm such a nerd. I always kind of watch the new shows coming out and sort of be like, that looks cool. I wonder if I get a chance to read on that, you know. And and Demon Slayer looked amazing, but it was sort of that thing that realistically I'm sort of like, I don't know, I'm not really seeing any characters I feel like I fit that well. So it's like, well, shame. Still looks like a cool show. Until I saw her, and I was like, that one, can I read on her? That's the one. I was like, don't get your hopes up. I was like, there's the one. There's the character. I'd be like, that one. And I'm like, oh, I got it. And yeah, it was super fun. It's that class of villain that just loves their job so much. And I love those kinds of villains, like the Alucards, the Moriartys, just the ones that are like, I am just enjoying being evil so damn much right now. So that's always a lot of fun to play. And just did so much evil laughing. I can't even count how many of my lines were just evil laugh, evil laugh, evil laugh, evil laugh.
Your range is impeccable too. Just like when I would hear the laugh, I loved it. And I did love hearing her voice, because she would even say like, that's so petty. Why would he be so petty? And I loved hearing it. So great job, both of you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
So their characters, we meet them at the top. We got Yahaba and Susumaru, and they attack, and they do quite the amount of damage on this poor little house. And I thought it was interesting that they kind of have clashing energies. She seems, it's pure enjoyment of destruction and doesn't mind making a mess. And he's like, oh, you're getting me dirty, or you're spraying the debris in my face.
He's so fussy.
Yeah, well, I mean, you shouldn't be getting dust everywhere, man. It's unsanitary.
I'm gonna use my balls and get dust on you. That's all there is to it, dude.
Oh.
All right. Be honest, how many giggles were there when you're discussing the weapons of your demon? Because I feel like even last week when we were talking about flying balls, be like, all right, come on, we can all admit it's funny. So how much laughing occurred at the studio, Sarah, when you guys were talking about it and recording?
Honestly, it didn't really, I don't think we did too many off-color jokes about
Yeah.
it, just because, I don't know, there's certain points where I just accept the insanity. It's like, how does she fight? Oh, she's literally got two bouncy balls that she can literally decapitate a man with. I'm like, roll with it, let's go.
We didn't so much have jokes about the balls, but I know me and Steve, our director on this, made a lot of jokes about my character keeps talking about how everyone's splattering him with dust, but sometimes he doesn't clarify, and like, just there's not really a good way out of context, to say the line, "Oh, you splattered me," without it sounding,
suggestive.
Yes,
dirty.
exactly.
Yeah.
So we definitely lost it a few times doing those.
I really wish I could remember if I did any off-color like outtakes or something. I don't, honestly. I have to wait for a convention or something for them to show those.
I like that you had a pun already, because you said, it's on a roll or something like that. I was like,
oh, did I? Jeez.
Yep.
Oh no,
Didn't even
unintentional
know.
puns.
She will be here all week, ladies and gentlemen.
Now, Jaimi had mentioned it, and then Sarah, you had just said it. We get poor Yushiro completely gets his head knocked off. Another moment of the show being so brutal, but it was almost kind of that beautiful silhouette where you see it happen, but it grows back, and it's like, Veronica, what did you think of that, of losing the head and then the grow back?
I mean, at first, obviously, it's shocking because it kind of comes out of nowhere. Obviously, Yushido is not their target, and when that happened, it's just like, okay, so these guys aren't playing around. They'll take down everyone and anyone who gets in their way. But it brings up a good point, and obviously we'll get into it in the later episode, but demons can't fight other demons, or they can, but it's pointless. And so that was just a really good example of like, oh, here's something that seems really shocking in any other anime. It would be, the end of a character, but because he's a demon, he's immortal and he comes back, and it just shows, oh, demons fighting against demons, what does that do?
How oddly comedic is it too when his mouth starts to grow back and he's ranting, and I'm like, okay, his rage is impressive because he's doing this before his brain has even fully formed again. That's how angry he is right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we learn also not just the balls are dangerous items, but they can move in any which direction and at any time. But it's because of some assistance. Jaimi, what did you think of that reveal of how the two powers were essentially working together?
I thought it was incredible. I think that both the demons and their abilities are incredible. And I think it's interesting how in the next episode, which I know we'll get to that, where we find out they were only like subpar compared to what we're about to face in these upcoming episodes. And it just makes you really wonder. But I thought it was incredible. These are such unique abilities to be able to have these arrows that go in any direction, these balls of steel that can literally decapitate your head or take off your foot. Like, you know, so, and I love that she was able to multiply her arms and she gets even stronger. So it's incredible. I like when I can watch an anime where it's not always the same techniques and they have a uniqueness about their abilities. So that was dope.
Yeah. I'm very offended you called us subpar. That hurt my feelings.
I didn't do it. You guys.
The show did.
Dude, we got our butts handed to us. That's the truth of the matter.
I mean, speak for yourself.
Put up a good fight. Yeah.
I thought I had him on the ropes there.
Well, to be fair, you got your butt handed to you. I made a slip up and said the wrong name. Exactly. They didn't technically beat me.
Exactly.
True.
If she could have went for a lot longer, I think Susumaru had it in her to keep going, but obviously she can't beat our heroes. But this whole fight and kind of what we just touched upon, Kari and Jaimi and everyone, was these two demons really go hand in hand with their abilities, and it really made me wonder like what their relationship was. And I have a theory, not necessarily on the relationship, but like who they were when we get to the second episode. But yeah, it's like what's their relationship, because their powers went very well together, and it makes me think, does Kitsubuji, I can never remember his name correctly, does he like create demons together? Does he have a plan? That's all I want to know. Like, does he have a plan, or is he just mindlessly creating demons? That's like, oh, I guess you guys go together.
A little behind the scenes info. I know for a fact they were friends in college. They actually ran the anime club in college, and then they were recruited into demon school, or whatever that process looks like. Yeah,
great insight. Yeah,
little bit of.
Perfect. That's all I need to hear.
Yeah. Was it the 12 Demon Moon School? Because that's what they're part of. Yeah.
Yes, that was it. And I graduated from there, so I remember the name of it super well.
There you go. And Veronica, as you were touching upon, Kibutsuji has made these demons. They claim to be part of the 12. They're not, which we learn later. And the crazy cool thing too of powers, Jaimi, what do you think when Yushiro gives Tanjiro the gift of sight, the sense of sight, when he has the little placard on his forehead and he can see the arrows finally?
Right. I mean, he's nice for once, which I like Yoshiro's character. He's such a spaz, but he is so enamored by Lady Tamayo, so I can't hate him. But I thought it was dope. I think with Tanjiro and meshing that together, he was able to see things finally, because the arrow demon had pretty much cut off his vision in the first place. So
yeah. And then as we were talking to earlier, this is also when Nezuko first kind of jumps back into the fight, because yes, she's fought already, but this is when she kind of gets back into it. But then they do a swap of like, okay, wait, people go different things. Also, what did we think of that moment, crazy, where he's fighting, Tanjiro's fighting Yahaba, and the rope snaps, the thread that he always can fight with. Veronica, what do you think of that moment? Is it's like, oh no, it's your plan has been foiled.
I mean, technically in that moment his plan had been foiled, but at the same time, this is so early on that he's not, I'm sure it's not a guarantee thing. This is really only the second time we've seen him fight demons, and he's obviously fighting demons that are much more stronger than the previous one. So I'm sure he's bound to run into other strong demons that don't fight the same way others do, and his plan doesn't always go the way it's supposed to.
That's true. Anybody else throw back to our Soul Eater show, have familiarity with the arrows and how they can attack you from Medusa?
Right, with the hair, yes, and tongue.
It's like move people.
Yeah.
I really liked, not to jump like too far ahead, but I really liked that because in the beginning it seemed like he was more of a defensive demon, if that makes sense. Like his powers were meant to help your character, Sarah. And
Yeah, he's a buffer. He's a buffer.
Yeah.
Well, you know, he buffs.
Yeah, but I like that we
MMO.
also got to see, okay, so he can play on the offense, and this is how he uses his powers to, you know, attack if he needs to.
Speaking of those powers, Xander, what did you think of when you learned what your character could really do?
I was surprised, mostly because as he was explained through the episode up till that point, it was just like the creepy eye things, and it was like, oh yeah, like he can do all these things with the eyes, and then the arrows started coming out, and I was like, yo, wait, what? I can do what? So that was fun. I really liked one moment I really enjoyed, because I don't know, it just didn't like quite hit me exactly how the powers worked until there's this moment where like his arrow wraps around Tanjiro's arm, and then he spins in the same direction as the arrow to get loose, and I was like, oh, that's really clever. Oh, I love that.
It's terrible of me, like that scene where he's getting flicked around with the arrows all over the place and in the sky. It's like, you could make a really funny video if you added pinball sounds to that.
Yeah,
Just
it
ding,
was.
ding, 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 ding. Tilt,
Oh boy.
tilt.
He got the high score.
Yeah. And then Sarah, what about you? What did you think when you got to see what your character got to do, of not just, you know, she can add extra of the weapons and then extra arms?
Well, she's basically a berserker tank. It's like you cut it off, it just grows back, and she doesn't appear to feel pain. So she is like, in essence, a berserker tank. And it makes it even worse when you've got Yahaba like buffing her up more and backing her up with his aiming powers. Because it's like the ball throwing by itself, the fact she can do it tough and strongly enough to again decapitate him, it was cool on its own. And then, oh, by the way, I got 6 arms now. Oh, by the way, I got 6 more balls now. No, 6. You can't say that.
Yeah.
Dirty. So that by itself, and I mean, even without Yahaba, after he's been, she's still a force to be reckoned with.
Absolutely. And then Jaimi, you were kind of rooting for our Yushiro, and he has the ability to go invisible, which was pretty dope. What'd you think of that?
I love that. Like, just all these things that were not expected of him. You know, he looks like this prim, put together. He looks really young. You know, he's very unexpected with his personality and his temperament. But I thought that was incredible that he was able to do that. So, yeah, points for him.
And then Veronica, our best girl Nezuko, goes to fight and goes to kick the ball and loses a leg. Like, get clean off. What did you think of that?
To be perfectly honest, when I first saw that, my first reaction was not, oh no, Nezuko. It was, how is Tanjiro gonna react? Just because so far Nezuko has been kicking butt. Like, she's been holding her own in the fights as well. And we haven't really seen her get injured. And even though she's immortal, she's a demon, she can heal, it's still, I'm sure it's definitely something that Tanjiro would not really get used to, especially if it's the first time that he's seeing his sister get injured like that.
Right.
Oh yeah.
It scared me, honestly. Like, I got nervous about it. I was like, wait a minute. But then I was like, she's a demon. She'll be okay. It's fine. But again, just to piggyback off what Veronica said, it's her first time where we see her get hurt. So, yeah.
And then not only that, but we do have some awesome super medication from Tamayo, and that was pretty convenient and great.
Yeah,
oh yeah. Yeah. And then, so the end of the episode modifies is that moment, as Sarah mentioned, when the, oh no, it's not that spin, but the last moment of that episode is how Tanjiro realizes he needs to modify and adjust his fighting technique and can't just do regular, and he does the horizontal water wheel, and that's where we pause with the head cut, but we're like, because this show likes its cliffhangers, for sure.
I love how the literal water wheel looked, like, even before the episode ended. I thought that was incredible. And I know we've mentioned it a little bit so far, but he's so clever to think of that, to just go in the same direction as the attack, and there you go. But yeah, I love that cliffhanger.
Yes. which leads us into episode 10, Together Forever. And yeah, so he has the whirlpool, the head. Sorry, Xander, your character's head clean cut off.
He was
I didn't like
so
this episode.
mad.
Didn't
Again,
like
it was
this
just
episode.
the funniness of his head's off, and he's still ranting. He's so mad.
I know.
Like, I'm dead now, you jerk.
Will one of you take my cloak and just make sure it doesn't get splattered, please?
Well, do you almost think it was also like a dig in Yahaba's ego, because they, and again, we'll get to it, they think they're part of this 12 moon demon that are supposed to be very strong, and they don't think that anyone can take them down. And then here's this kid, they don't know that he's, you know, still an up and coming demon slayer, but who essentially takes them down. So I feel like it also would have been, you know, hurting his ego.
Yeah, I think absolutely. I think also he got his head cut off, and like if I had the ability to talk after my head cut off, most of what came out of my mouth after that would not be. It'd be very angry and very like, "Yo, what the hell?" So that's the real pathos that you got to think about as an actor. Is what would you say after your head was cut off?
Right.
Well, you don't let it slide. You have the final attack, all the arrows. So many. So what was it like kind of voicing that? Because then that is really the last moments for your character.
Yeah, I mean, those moments are always intense because you have to, you know, when you're in the booth, you have to keep yourself like, you know, pumped up and like, and you have time in between takes, you know, like they have to like make sure mouth flap work. Oh, hey, maybe this line needs a slight adjustment because this flap was slightly off, so we got to do that. And you've got to keep that energy up the entire time. So anytime you're doing a scene like that where it's very intense, very like this is your final moment, you got to put everything into it. And it's like, all right, cool. Let's take 5 real quick. We're gonna line that up, and keeping that energy up is always really. I mean, it's fun, but it can be a challenge for sure, and it was a lot of fun this time.
Do you have a special technique that you do to keep that energy up?
Yeah, I repeatedly punch myself in the face. No, I mean, I don't think so. I think it's just trying to cling on to the moment of like, okay, this is what's going on. I'm going to keep myself in this headspace. I'm going to keep myself engaged with the scene, even when it's paused in between takes to like, you know, I think that's, I don't know if that's a technique, but that's what I do.
We have the Twit gamer in the chat says, you seem to have removed my head. I am quite annoyed at this.
As you should be. Don't
fell.
stand for that.
I know who
Send
that is.
a bunch of arrows at him. That's what I do. That's the constructive way to deal with it.
Yes. So then we have Tanjiro does so many of the cool consecutive. This is the moment, Sarah, you were talking about, of all the different consecutive katas and moves, and finally gets back to the ground, and he has a poor broken rib and a leg, and he's like crawling on the ground with his sword in his mouth. Jamie, how are you feeling for our poor Tanjiro then?
I felt bad for him because he had to like pull out all these moves and stops just to like get away from all these arrows, and then he couldn't even draw his sword after. So and honestly, I didn't know if it was gonna work for him because not only does he have these long moves, it's a lot of syllables. It's like lateral ball, like it's like too much. And then by the time you like get halfway through your move, who knows like what could have happened with another arrow. So, you know, he has to say it super, he's just a lot of precision he needs. But I felt bad for him in that moment, but thankfully things kind of worked out.
Yes. Well, then this is the moment that we were kind of talking about with Nezuko, and what do we all think here? We got Yushiro and Nezuko essentially gets into a kickball match with you, Sarah.
Oh yeah, just the utter frustration of that. It's just like, stop kicking it back. Why should she stop? It's like, and just that fun volley of grunts back and forth, just like harder, 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 harder. Oh, dang! Just like goes past her head into the wall. And just like, just that utter frustration of, you're not stronger than me. That's BS.
Now, Sarah, when you're in the booth doing those kind of grunts for kicking, are you actually trying to physically kick in that space, or do you have any other sort of physicality you like to incorporate?
I need to. I mean, you have to be a little careful with your physicality because you don't want it to be picked up by the mic and you don't accidentally want to kick over a stand or the mic stand or something, because that could happen if you're wildly flailing your limbs without caution. I mean, usually just a motion of my leg in a safe direction is enough to work it.
Very cool.
You know, I've punched myself in the gut if I have to do a hurt sound sometimes. Not legitimately, just bleh, expel some air, helps force a little bit of air out, makes the sound good.
Well, what you do for your art, yes. We have, so then this is the moment where it's like we feel our characters are doing okay, but I don't know what Tanjiro is going to do. Tamayo comes out with her awesome technique of blood arts, and oh, so you're aware of Kibutsuji's identity, and they're a coward, and so these are the moments too, Veronica, you mentioned of why do the demons, why they they can't fight against each other, but because there's no point, and also why do they essentially just not band together to fight against him? And then we kind of find out why. Jaimi, what do you think of that reveal there of, if you say his name?
I mean, I know it was revealed to us a couple episodes about that, but it was like, it's crazy that he really is he's strong, but he's so weak that he is preying upon all of these other demons just for his own personal gain. So I'm excited to really find out more about it. And I know that we did mention about him looking like Michael Jackson, Smooth Criminal, but it's like, now that it's even more evident, I love it. Like, it's literally like he's the Smooth Criminal. And I'm excited to learn more about him. And but I felt bad for them. They don't know that they're really, not you guys, but the characters are subpar, and it sucks to just kind of see that, because who knows like what their potential could have been. But I'm excited to kind of see more of that backstory too.
On the Smooth Criminal note, if someone hasn't made that AMV yet, if I can't get onto YouTube and see an AMV to Demon Slayer featuring that guy with Smooth Criminal as the song, I'm going to be so disappointed.
It's got to be out there.
Yeah, somebody.
Like, fans think of everything. It's got to be out there.
Yeah.
And they'll get a music video probably in a few weeks. Wait for it.
Yeah. Please. Yeah, if not now, it'll definitely be out there soon. Something I wanted to say about this moment was I just thought the manipulation by not only Lady Tamayo was very impressive to get Susumaru to say his name, but also just the fact that Kibutsuji is so powerful that he can manipulate people and be like, yeah, if you say my name, you're dead.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I also love the music when Lady Tamayo is doing her spell. And it's so eerie too, because like you do see this blood and then you see the claws, but it's like beautiful. So it's hard to, it's all these different emotions that you feel in those moments where she's doing her spell. But that death with Susumaru, like crazy. Especially even the sound effects like of it after we see the first crushing. So
Sarah, what was it like watching that character death? Because it's gnarly, like the arms coming out.
I said that to Xander. I was like, I got a metal death. That was amazing. I was so happy. It's something that was fun. It's like, because Yahaba's the smart one, and he was defeated through brute force. He got his head lopped off. Whereas I'm the brute force one, but I got outsmarted. Like, they didn't have to brute force her. It was literally, you screwed up. You were your own downfall. They barely had to lift a finger. You did that to yourself. No, it was really, and I really, especially, it was that moment of like, it's sort of that realization of that moment of pure fear and panic when she runs in that direction away, because it's just like, I have screwed up on a massive scale. And it's the idea of suddenly it's a child realizing they have screwed up, that they are about to die. And, and then the process of getting all those awful, awful sounds coming out of her as they're ripping through her body. And like, do I need to make this a little wetter? I'm going to make that a little wetter. Let me do another take on that. You know, how do I sound with a giant muscular arm out of my mouth? You know, what's the sound for that? I was really.
How did you discover that sound?
As I said, I was just like, okay, let's just make it sound real wet, real sort of like, I think I did at one point, like just try to shove my fist into my mouth as much as I could do it and sort of go around it. You know, whatever I could do to get that impression of something is blocking your throat to the point that you can't even properly cry out.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Method.
You went to like begging for her life. I like how you were like, it's like a child has done something bad. You could totally see that in that moment. And I felt bad for her. I felt so bad.
It's
crazy.
crazy.
She deserves it. She deserves it in that sad way. But it's a child that's been misled and a little bit messed up in the head. Both of them.
Yeah. Oh, well, Xander and Sarah, like something we've talked about on the show is how specifically with Tanjiro, how he's such an empathetic character that even though there's all these demons going around that have done very bad things, he usually takes a moment to kind of just like send them off with peace. And even though your characters were bad guys and were obviously trying to kill this group of people, can you also see like the empathy for them? Because like you're saying, Sarah, like we learned in that moment, like she was a child who was turned into a demon and manipulated, and this is how she goes off. She had no idea what she was doing, really.
I think you always try to find something empathetic in your characters, even when they are bad people. And generally, not always, but like generally, if the story's well written, there will be, you know, sometimes there are those just like, I like being evil. It's just my hobby. I'm just doing it. But a lot of the times you try and find something about them that, even if it's not like this makes them a good person, it's something you can connect with. And yeah, with my guy, I think he was a lot less sympathetic in that he just, for me, the thing I kind of glommed onto is, you all know those people who it's like, oh, I'm smarter than everybody else in the room. Why can't everyone else appreciate that? And even though it's not necessarily a nice quality about him, it is a human quality. And we've all been in those rooms where, you know, you're at a Thanksgiving where someone's like, that uncle starts that fight and you're just like, oh my God, why are we doing this? You know, like that sort of thing. So I think that's what I glommed onto, but I don't think there was anything super like, oh yeah, no, secretly deep down he was a good guy. I don't think he was. I think he was just kind of a pompous dick. Am I allowed to say dick? I should have asked this before.
As you say it again in your ask. No, it's all good.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're fine. Sarah, what about you? Because your character does get a moment, because it's essentially we do have pity for her when you hear that child's voice saying, you know, like, play with me. And her weapon is a toy.
I think like what I can get from what happens when you get that demon's blood in you, it's a bloodlust. It's sort of that, kind of clouds your judgment, especially a child, because children can already be very cruel without understanding that it's cruel. But a kid that gets that kind of bloodlust in them, and basically that thing of like, I can do whatever I want now. I can just, nobody can stop me. It's that unrelenting cruelty of someone very young who doesn't have a full comprehension of the cruelty they're capable of, and then enjoying it because now I'm assuming she must have been that way for a little while, and then they just like it. That's just life, and that's how they want to live. I don't know if that makes sense. I think I came off my point. Something like that.
Yeah. Jaimi, what do you think?
Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, what did you think of those final moments for her? Because she has been this evil person, but literally her final words are like that kind of wanting companionship and play, and you know, like it's such a weird pivot from where she was moments ago.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe that's just like the little innuendos that the show does to kind of show you like, this is who the person was, and it's like back to it to kind of trigger us, because that's what it did. But yeah, again, I felt so bad for this character, and it was so short-lived. We saw them for 2 episodes and that was it. And it's not like I disliked their characters. I thought their characters were cool. I liked the look of their characters, despite the eye in the hand. But I thought that no hard feelings. Despite the eye in the hand, you said it was kind of creepy too. But I thought they had a cool look, amazing abilities, and action packed. Because sometimes, for me personally, I like shonen anime, but sometimes the action can be redundant. And right now, it's just at such a good pace where it catches my eye and keeps my attention. So it just sucks that we didn't get enough of you two. But yeah, I felt bad for her.
Something that you said, Xander, that I really liked and that I didn't consider before was how you kind of mentioned your character. Although he wasn't someone you root for, he possessed a human quality. And I really liked that because it's true, we do see kind of mindless demons, and then we also see demons that take on a personality and kind of exhibit human traits, even though they're not human. So, like you're saying, it's kind of something to relate to as well. So I really liked that because I didn't think about that before.
Yay.
Well, similar to not thinking of it that way before, we have Tamayo, who gets a hug from Nezuko, and she's kind of like, oh, what's going on? And Tanjiro points out, she probably just sees you as humans. But it's like, but we're not. And it was such kind of a sweet moment that, and we've asked this question of, are there different kinds of demons? And I think these two, Yushiro and Tamayo, are a different kind of demon, such that Nezuko can see them still as a human. But it's probably because they broke from the curse, because they don't get blood and they don't kill people the same way anymore.
I think
plus they're helping them too. Like she
Yeah.
gets to heal, Nezuko, and so maybe that's why. But that's really interesting because they are demons, so it's weird that her the persuasion that she had is not working on them.
Yeah. I think Nezuko is very much like Tanjiro in that she isn't seeing demons versus humans. She's seeing like good versus evil, essentially. And even though, yes, Yoshiro and Tamayo are demons, they never came off as a threat. They were always willing to help. Tamayo helped Nezuko when she was injured. They were supporting Tanjiro during this fight. So she never saw them as threats like the other demons who just kind of came in and immediately were like, I'm going to fight you.
That's a very good point. I like that way of thinking of this. Good point. Now, for raise your hand, did you think that Nezuko would stay with Tamayo? Did you have a moment where you're like, maybe?
You mean
Or no.
if she would stay with Tamayo or she'd go with Tanjiro?
If she would stay with Tamayo, like, yes, she would stay, or no way, she's going to stay with Tanjiro, right? Yes, okay. It's like you go.
It'd be kind of weird, and it's like she barely knows them. She lost her family. I think it would just be a lot. She's already used to being in his little backpack.
Yeah.
Covered, so might as well stay there. I love their brother sister duo relationship. It's so cute to see, and I'm excited to see more cosplay of it because I can just imagine people in future conventions, dressing up and cosplaying as them. So that would be really cute.
Oh, that'd be really cute if you could figure out how to.
Figure it out. I have a question for Xander and Sarah. So your characters were introduced as the demons, like of the 12 moons. This very elite group of demons. But we obviously learned that that's not the case. Do you have any idea of why maybe you were fed that information, like why your characters were fed that information? Was it maybe to make them fight harder, or just so Kitsubuji would get like a sick kick out of it, of like, haha, they think they're something that they're not? Like,
Yahaba clearly has an ego problem. He clearly, even down to how fussy he is with, his appearance and like, oh, don't get your gross germs on me. I think he's kind of self-absorbed and very egotistical. So I feel like strategically, if you want the guy with the massive ego to do what you want to do, you want to feed him the line of like, oh yeah, you're super important, which is why I need you to go and do this.
Oh yeah, I would assume it was about control. It's like no, you don't need like who's going to contradict him? It's like, unless these two are willing to go seek that out, it's just like, yeah, you're totally a part of my elite group. So, because even the illusion of giving them power is a way to control them.
Yeah.
Good answers. So then now Tanjiro. Oh, and then we talked about this last week. Jaimi, what do you think of that turnaround with Yushiro? And he says that Nezuko is attractive. She is a beauty. She's pretty.
I was proud of him. I think it shows like that he has a change of character. So I thought it was funny and good for him. He should apologize.
Yeah, good. I'm happy. I'm proud of him that he took that step. And you know, because I called him the angsty boy. He was the angsty boy for the last couple episodes, and we haven't really seen an angsty boy. So I liked it. I'm happy that he finally, you know, gave Nezuko the respect that she deserves.
He's the petty one. He's the true petty one.
Yeah.
Yeah, your angsty boy pulled through and showed some maturity. Yeah,
That's all we want.
Yeah. So you know, another time of Tanjiro just finishing a battle and then already getting mission to go for another place. They're going to go South by Southwest, and they come across a new character of Zenitsu. All right, we don't know anything about this character yet. Jaimi, what were your first thoughts on this golden-haired crybaby in the middle of the road?
Literally that. I just saw yellow in different shapes. I gotta get something of their gear, like for myself. I feel like I would want Tanjiro's gear. But yeah, he just seems like a spaz who wants to get married so that he doesn't have to fight. Like, even because we had seen him before when Tanjiro had passed.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Slicing the boulder, but it's like, okay, he just, so far I feel like I can tell what his character is going to be like, but I don't know. So that my prediction, honestly, I can already tell it's going to be slim to none, because it's just so vague and so out in the open that it's not, I can't really tell what's going to happen, but I feel like they'll be close. I don't think I get like they would be enemies like him and the other Demon Slayer could be. So yeah. All
right, and then yeah, good point. We have seen him briefly before, but Veronica, what do you think when we came across him at this point in time?
Yeah, I mean, just initial reaction, it's like, who's this guy? I feel like he's clearly someone who doesn't embrace the idea of being a demon slayer. I think maybe he's someone who probably was just thrust into it for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And it seems like he's living his life on hyperdrive, because when you battle demons, you don't necessarily know how long you'll be able to live, because you're putting yourself in danger every single time you fight a demon. So he probably wants to like live as much of a fulfilled life as possible, and that's why he's like, hey, marry me, because I don't know when I'll be able to do that.
Yes. Any other thoughts on these episodes, your characters, your involvement with the show, Sarah?
Well, no, I was real happy to have a part in this show, and you know, a little short-lived, but honestly still very impactful, because they were such good villains. So always grateful to get to be a part of these sort of things. And gosh, it was a super amount of fun.
Nice. And Xander?
Yeah, very much the same. Really glad to have gotten to be a part of it. It was a lot of fun to work on, and you know, it's always great to play off of Sarah, because she always is phenomenal, and so she makes me look good. So that's always nice.
You're a good boy, Xander.
Yeah.
You're such a good guy. You're so good and you're so talented.
I didn't agree to this. I'm leaving.
Yeah. And then Jaimi, any other thoughts on the episode before we get to our special segment and predictions?
I love the episodes. Thank you guys, Xander and Sarah, for coming. Like, it means a lot to us, and we love the show so far. So I'm excited for the next episodes. Again, these were the last two that I fully remember from the first time that I watched. So everything else is going to be a complete surprise. So I'm really excited.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Hey. And Veronica, any other thoughts on the episodes?
Just a good pair of episodes, you know, where every single batch of episodes we're learning little by little about this world, about what demons are, and kind of like Jaimi said, thank you, Xander and Sarah, for joining us, for bringing insights that maybe we wouldn't have thought before. We really appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for having us.
Yay. So we'll hold on predictions for just a second, but our special segment, we do our Japanese word of the day, and I thought I'd give a call out to Sarah's toy, the Tamari. So Tamari is a toy. So they are balls that are folk and Japanese craft, and it literally means hand ball, which makes sense because of holding it with your hand and everything. So I thought that was rather interesting. So we heard it in the episode, but Tamari.
Mari.
Yay. All right, and then no, you.
I don't know if we still do that thing where it's like you say and I repeat. Okay.
Well, we get our digital delay, so it's a fun exchange. Also, quick shout out: Japan Crate has another crate out. Oops, sorry about it. So this is for June. Stay tuned on that. I'll have more info and photos, and then also be checking out our Twitter. We will post photos of what's in the June crate. Awesome. So let's get into some quick predictions. All right, Jaimi, you were kind of saying them. What are you thinking?
Again, I feel like where they left it off, they didn't. All we know is that he's met, this new-ish demon slayer. So I feel like we're gonna get more of them together. Do I feel like they might face danger and have to fight side by side, possibly? So let's throw that out there. They're gonna meet each other again and have to fight side by side. So we'll get to see his abilities.
Nice. Veronica, any inklings?
I think that the first couple episodes really gave us a strong idea and kind of gave us little tidbits into the mystery of who this villain is. But I think we might take a pause from that for a while and just kind of explore what it means to be a demon slayer and kind of their daily routine.
Nice. Cool. Now, Xander and Sarah, where can people find you online? And do you have any current projects you're working on that you'd like to share? Sarah.
I'm mostly on Twitter at Sarah with an H and with an E, Willia, which is Williams without the MS because I couldn't fit it. I mean, at the moment, what I can talk about is I'm the lead in an RPG called Black Book, which is actually has a very successful Kickstarter already, but they think they have about 6 days left. So that looks cool because it's like kind of got a horror edge to it, and it's card-based battle as far as I can tell. Looks real neat. And, I know that last episode of the first season of Magia Record came out, and Familiar Face came back. Yeah, I think that's about what I can think I can talk about.
Very cool. And Xander.
You can follow me on Twitter at XanderMobusVO. For projects that are out right now, I think I'm mostly just waiting on stuff at the moment. I don't think there's anything. Yeah, I don't think so. I think I'm good. Just follow me. I'm super funny, guys. Come on.
Right. All right. And speaking of following, Veronica, where can people follow you online?
Hey everyone, you can find me Veronica Valencia on Twitter and Instagram at it's me Veronica_V.
Jaimi, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at it's Jaimi Gray, or better yet on Instagram at Jaimi Gray. But you gotta spell my name right. It's JAIMINGRAY.
Nice. And then you can also follow Ollie, who's part of our show. It's Ollie Drennan online. And my name is Kari Lane. You can find me online at Kari D Lane. That's KARIDLANE. And also go check out our Twitter, which is ABTV Anime. We post a lot of press release announcements, if there's manga and anime coming up, and how there's a couple different conventions doing online conventions this coming up season. So check out that online. Again, ABTV Anime. Again, thank you so much to our guests, Sarah and Xander, for joining us. It was so fun to talk anime with you and your characters.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.